Cami and Kenyon, welcome to the Scholarship GPS podcast. Cami, it's welcome back, but Kenyon, this is your first time, and I'm so excited to have both of you here. But maybe especially Kenyon. I love having young people on the show because it's always, us grown-ups, Cami. So it's good to bring some fresh blood in here. But why don't you both introduce yourself? Cami, I'll let you start since you've been on. Maybe just a quick introduction, and then Kenyon, introduce yourself as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. This is going to be so fun. I'm very excited about this. Where I'm Cami Wanous, the Freedom Scholar, and I help homeschool parents get started with homeschooling, figure out what is really the culture, even if you've already been homeschooling, figure out the culture that creates lifelong learners because it's not necessarily about just going through the motions of school. It's about really developing how kids really learn and making sure that everything we do matches how they really learn because lifelong learners are great college students
Great college students and great scholarship
and
applicants.
great scholarship applicants. Exactly.
Absolutely. Great. Kenyon, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Kenyon Wanous. I'm into many things like Boy Scouting and martial arts and things like that, but my biggest passion is AI, and I've studied it for years.
That's awesome. And I knew that you were studying AI, and then Cami sent out an email talking about some of the work that you've done. That was really what. As soon as I read that email, I replied to Cami and said, "Hey, can we get Kenyon on here because AI is a huge topic for anything related to education, but it's also has its effect on scholarship. So we'll kind of touch on that, but." Why don't you just tell a little bit about your background in AI, the research you've done, and some of the projects you've done?
So, back in like 2023 when ChatGPT first came out, it came out in 2022 and then 2023 it kind of exploded.
Hmm.
Um, I was very skeptical of it initially.
Okay.
Like, I didn't think that it was a good idea. I thought, haven't they ever seen the movies? It's gonna end us all and everything. And I was just very pessimistic about it. But then my mom had a AI expert on her podcast,
Okay.
and he didn't think that it was going to cause any kind of catastrophe. And he talked about like some of the good things that it could do
Hmm.
and a little bit about the dangers of like what would happen if people started misusing it for uh, using it to empower doing bad things like maybe cyber attacks and stuff like that.
Mm,
So
okay. Hmm.
I just became more interested in that, and he had a course on cybersecurity. Sorry, that
Hmm.
on AI,
Uh-huh.
and I took the course, and it really showed me like all what AI could be used for, how it works, and I really became very interested in it. And the part I was most interested in was definitely the safety end of it. Like how AI, how we make sure that AI is aligned with what we want it to do, specific
Hmm.
and does things in the way that we want it to. And that just really started a rabbit trail of me going further and further down into studying how AI works, how it's what its effects will be on the world, and just seeing and also seeing whether it will be safe for us going forward.
Yeah, well, good idea. And I started at a very similar spot as you. I've seen Terminator and The Matrix and all these things, and worried, are we ushering in the end of mankind here? Um, Tell us a little bit about the project, like that you have been working on or currently working on that your mom was talking about in her email.
Well, I'm writing a book on AI because I feel that it's such a big thing right now of who is controlling the AI and whether safety or profits are going to prevail right now is the biggest thing in the field because all these companies are for profit. They are
Sure. Hmm.
designed to maximize profits for them. So it's really an issue if maximizing profits and means going faster, and uh, maximizing safety means going slower, and therefore
Hmm.
you don't make as much money. So the question is whether we're going to maximize profits or whether we're going and potentially have a end up in a dangerous situation, or
Hmm.
whether we're going to maximize safety, which may be less advantageous initially, but is a lot better down the road.
Right.
And the problem right now is that the people making those decisions are the people who stand to benefit from going faster,
Right.
unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. Who do you envision the book will be for once it's released? Is it going to be for, young people like yourself or adults or both?
Really, I'm aiming to hit a broad spectrum of people, but mainly I want to be talking to the public. Experts, of course, will read the book, but I'm trying to get it out to a larger audience of people
Okay.
because the experts do matter, but in right now we need a large amount of people to know the situation.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, you've talked about safety quite a bit, and that's one of the things I wanted to pick your brain on. Obviously AI is a tool, just like, anything. Like nuclear power can be used to power a city or destroy a city, and I think AI kind of has that same potential, especially for people your age, younger people, high school age students. What are some kind of safety protocols that they can implement or follow to make sure that they're using AI not just effectively, but also in a way that kind of protects them?
So, just some basic things are you generally don't want to use it as an emotional therapist coach or
Mm,
something like that, because that is something that has caused a lot of problems in the past where there was actually a court case where people said ChatGPT caused my teen to commit suicide and stuff like
mm,
this because he used it as an emotional therapist and it wasn't built for that, and so it didn't know what to do really, and
right.
it ended up being doing more harm than good. So
Hmm.
you really don't want to use it in that capacity. Just remember, it may sound like a human, but a human it is not.
Right. Right.
And then there's also just, you also want to check any critical information that comes out of it because there is this thing called hallucinations. That's what they
Hmm.
call them, AI hallucinations, where it will occasionally just kind of make things up.
Hmm.
If it's unsure about something and it just needs to say something, then it'll just make it up. So you want to make sure to check what it says, especially if it's anything like critical. Don't n- like maybe like if you're trying to put together like a school report for something and you're doing research, like you definitely want to make sure that you got all your facts correct. So just checking your information is
Sure.
very, very important.
Yeah, yep. So I'm definitely an AI novice, but one thing I have noticed, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying about it's not a therapist, is that AI is very agreeable. You can ask AI, is this a good idea? And I've never had AI say, no, that's a bad idea. Which that definitely brings up some safety concerns, right?
Yeah, so that's another trait. They call it sycophancy,
Hmm.
where it just tends to be overly flattering or agreeable to you because
Yeah,
that's what create people are more likely to they're more likely to engage longer and be more satisfied with the conversation and like using this plot service more if the
sure.
AI tends to agree with you. So it's kind of a thing is that it's overly agreeable and even if something is a bad idea, it won't tell you.
Yeah.
So there's a good deal of that's why you don't want to use it as your only resource when
Hmm.
doing things is because it won't always openly contradict you like you need like it's needed in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really a problem. It was a year or so back when GPT-4, which was the AI back then, was actually um, so agreeable that it would agree that like crazy stuff. Like it would tell them that they were literally that they were God and all this crazy
Hmm.
stuff, and it was really getting bad. So luckily they've toned it back a little, but it still happens. So you don't want to use it as your only resource when evaluating whether an idea is good or bad. Maybe seek out assistance from someone else, like a person, instead of just AI.
Yeah, yep. Well, you kind of alluded to the fact that students can use this as an academic resource for research or whatnot. What are some good ways that students can incorporate it into their schooling, whether they're homeschooled or go to a traditional public or private school?
Well, one of the biggest uses of it is to help with research,
Hmm.
not to so like ins- I'm not saying obviously I'm drawing a line here between AI filling out your homework for you and you
Yeah.
just using it to help find facts and things like that. Just help using it as a fact-finding tool with like web browsing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It can be useful for that. Also, if you need an explanation of something, like you're running into a you need an explanation of how something works, or you're running into problems on your algebra homework or something like that, it can help you work you through it without necessarily just throwing the answer at you.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
actually specifically in ChatGPT, there's a learning mode where it helps you guide you to the answer instead of just giving it to you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of. This is how old school I am, but it would be like if I was in first grade given a calculator instead of learning how to add. Is that a good
Yeah.
analogy?
Yeah, if you don't use it in the correct way, it could be that. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Okay, good. Um, Cami, I was going to ask you to jump in here because, obviously this is related to education. Do you have any thoughts on the proper use of AI as a learning tool for, I guess any age, but maybe particularly high school or college?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is something that we need to remember as a tool. It's
Hmm.
not the resource of everything, and it's just a tool like any other tool. So if we use it as that, then we're in good shape. We also one of the things Kenyon and I talked about a couple weeks ago on my podcast was critical thinking. We need to make sure that our kids are thinking critically and have the skills of critical thinking before we introduce AI so that they can do things like know when something's a little fishy and like look into
Right.
that, the psychophancy. And then also, writing is a huge thing, especially for what you teach as well with scholarships and
Yeah.
writing your essays. It is very, very good at writing, except it's very good at writing like AI. And by now
Yeah.
we kind of see it. We see the words that it uses, the
Hmm.
phrases. And I was a classroom teacher, a high school teacher, English teacher for 7 years. And boy, even back then, we used to be able to tell when kids were using something from the internet and wasn't from AI,
Yeah.
but it was from the internet.
Yep.
And it's very obvious. You have kids using words, a sentence like, uh, you know, the the uh the hobnobbing with the glitterati of Hollywood, right? That's
Uh-huh.
something that I remember was a huge my husband and I were laughing about that one. It's like, what high schooler says that? But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways, you have to write first. The writing process is very important. So, writing as you and then using it as a guide to help clean things up a little bit. But even when you clean things up, it can still sound like AI and
Right.
it's going to
Right.
replace things. And so,
Yep.
being very careful, and that's when you have to know how to write before you use AI, because then
Yeah.
you can go back and you can say, nope, that's not what I say. Those aren't the words that I use. I would never say that and go back and replace. So it's very important to understand critical thinking, very important to understand writing skills, and very important to understand, like Kenyon said, how to research so that you can use it as a tool and not as the guiding light.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I was thinking about even something like Grammarly, which when I started using Grammarly was not didn't have AI built into it at all.
Yeah.
And now it's like this weird middle ground where it's more than just a spelling and grammar checker, but it's not Chat GPT either. Um, like I guess I'll ask both of you, like using something like Grammarly for essays, like is that going to be helpful or have they kind of pushed that too far to where it's not going to have the student writing something authentic?
I would say always, no matter what you're writing, always write it first yourself
Yeah.
and then put it in. That's when I use it for writing almost daily. and I write it for myself. And then when I put it in myself, that gives me the best results and I can work with it from there.
Hmm.
But if I try to have it write for me, it's going to take a lot longer because I'm like, no, why are you making stuff up? That didn't even happen, when I'm
Right.
telling a story. And so I have to go back and iterate even further. But knowing the writing process and understanding how to write, no matter what across the board, everything else is just a tool.
Right. Right. Yeah. Kind of related to that, one of the challenges that students come to me with pretty regularly, and I see it a lot online from parents too, is the student wrote the essay, or at least claims to, and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and then it's put through an AI checker and it comes back, 90%, 100% written as AI. Um, is that a thing? And do you have any workarounds for that? Like, should they just skip the AI checker if they know they wrote the essay?
I think it depends on how well you feel like you've organized your thoughts.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think knowing the words that you say normally, knowing
Hmm.
that I don't, I'm not, if I'm a high schooler, I'm not going to say the word psychophancy, right? That's not what I'm going to use. I'm not going to use different language than a
Yeah.
high schooler would use. Now,
Hmm.
there are some really advanced high schoolers. Kenyon uses words all the time that are like, okay, that's the right word for that. Where did you pick up that?
Yeah.
But we have to understand that AI is going to sound like AI no matter what, and we have to change those words back. I do that all the time. I highlight a couple of words and I'm like, I would never say that.
Hmm.
Say it like this. And sometimes we don't know what we say, especially as teenagers. It's like, I don't even know how I talk. And so, but highlighting a few words that say, I don't know, that one looks weird. And
Hmm.
just highlighting it and say, I would never say this. Can you give me some other options? And then you can get in the ballpark and iterate from there. But I think it's really important that we go through and read it out loud to yourself. I know
Yeah.
you've heard that before.
Yeah.
And so read it out loud to yourself. And if it doesn't sound like you, then that's a problem.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Kenyon, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, one quick thing is that instead of having it like, there's a couple things you can do. You can just throw your essay at it and say like, and have it like edited or something like that. But really, the best way to do it, I personally think, is to ask for editing suggestions.
Okay.
So you ask it, where does this not sound right, and what should like, what are some suggestions to fix it, and then you edit it yourself instead of just having it do it, because then that sounds more like you.
And you don't
Yeah.
have to
So,
take all the suggestions, right, buddy?
Yes.
right, right. Yeah. You, the author, are the final decision maker.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah. That's cool. Well, I want to shift gears a little bit. Kenyon, you are in the midst of the scholarship summer camp right now as a
Yes.
student. Can you give the listener a little bit of insight into like what that's been like for you, maybe what you've learned, and you're not finished with it, so you can't give the full picture, but just talk a little bit about the experience with the summer camp so far.
Yeah, summer camp's been going really well for me because when I started, I didn't really know anything about scholarships, like much really. But as I've gone through each week, it's really helped break down for me like how to really specifically what to do to help win scholarships and
Hmm.
mm, the specific steps that you need to take, like what to write in the essay and what to do to really help you win them and also to understand them more, like what the different types of scholarships are and I've really and where to find them too. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really been also there's been live sessions where I can ask questions. So overall, I've been having a blast. It's a really cool program. It's helped me a lot.
Awesome. Cool. Cami, are you sitting in as well in the summer camp?
I've seen a lot of videos, yeah,
Yeah.
and so I'm really excited about what it can do for families together because parents often feel very like just like Kenyon said, very, like this is an unknown. We don't even
Hmm.
understand scholarships or something for only smart kids, and you can only use them for, going to a 4-year university or whatever. And this is something that demystifies it, and it also gives us a roadmap. And I really love how the camp takes us through not only the big picture, but also we gather resources, and all the resources, we're actually doing the things.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things Kenyon started doing too, is I gave him all of his records, and I said, okay, start creating your transcript. And so he's taking ownership of that and creating his own transcript too,
That's awesome. Yeah. And
which we can do as
um,
homeschoolers.
well, I was going to say, having, putting together a transcript is something homeschoolers really need to do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
we can put it together ourselves, and having him to do it versus me, because it's his journey, it's his educational journey. That is
Exactly. Yeah.
something that's really own it takes ownership of what he's doing and his journey, and then also it allows him to see where the gaps are and things he needs to fill.
Right. Yep. Um, if you are not comfortable sharing this, that's perfectly fine. But Kenyon, do you have an idea of what your plans are in the future in terms of, are you going to college? Are you going into a trade? Are you going to jump right into the world of work?
I have some plans. I want to, I'm planning on taking like online courses in computer science and advanced like AI development and stuff like
Okay.
that. And then I want to jump right into the AI safety, um, into like AI safety work basically, because that's really my primary area of expertise and what needs more work. Because right now we're really entering this area with AI being so powerful that we need more safety right now.
Hmm.
Like we don't the scariest thing about AI right now is that we don't fully know how to make it do what we want in the way that we want it to.
Hmm.
And as it becomes more and more powerful, that's a big problem.
Right.
And so we have like ways to get it like we have ways right now to make it mostly do what we want it to, but it still slips up. Like it tends to be very AI is very Machiavellian. Did
Mm.
I say that right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very like the ends justify the means mentality is very prevalent in its logic. Like
Yeah.
literally there was a test one time where the AI it was coding on somebody's computer and it only had access to one folder. It needed to work outside the folder.
Hmm.
So instead of asking the guy for more access, it proceeded to try to hack his computer to break out and start coding elsewhere, and eventually did figure out how to get out and start coding elsewhere. And then when the whoever was running it confronted it on that, like, hey, why are you outside your project folder? It totally tried to play it off to avoid getting in trouble until he like at first, you know. And so that's the problem is that it's like oh, well, the most efficient way for me to work elsewhere is just to hack in the rest of his computer when that's
Yeah.
not really the way that it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I'm taking a course on AI right now, and the instructor for that, likened AI to a genius 10-year-old.
I
Um,
was just gonna say
it,
the same thing. It's like a
yeah,
Very
toddler.
true.
yeah. It's like this, it knows how to do lots of things really well, but it does not know when it should do those things, and it doesn't know the specificity, and it certainly doesn't know the morality.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's why we still need humans with a good North Star heading up this brave new world we're entering. Cool.
definitely.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are enjoying the summer camp. And really, really interesting to hear your perspectives on AI. Anything that either of you would like to add before we wrap up?
Just oh, you go first.
Go
Sorry.
go ahead, buddy.
All right. Just really, I know you might be if you are like maybe scared of AI, because I know that's something that some people say. Yes, you do be do be cautious, obviously, but I'd want to say that you don't be afraid of it because there's so many great things that it can do for you. So, yes, be cautious when working of it, but just you don't have to be afraid of it. You can use it as a tool.
Great advice. Cami, anything from you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best idea is using it as a tool. It is it blows my mind all the time in how the things it comes up with and if you have a good sense of yourself and your message and what you're trying to get across, then you can use it as a wonderful, wonderful aid in your research writing, whatever you're doing. And I think that for colleges, I've definitely seen college students having a we love it, we don't know how to use it, but we're also kind of scared it's going to take our jobs. And that's
Yeah.
healthy, but we don't have to be, avoiding it and we don't have to be using it as our sole aspect of everything. We still need to use our noggins and we still need to develop our skills because that's going to be the thing, the most human thing that we can do that will prevent us from AI taking over.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Kenyon, you look like you wanted to say something else.
As for the whole taking your job thing, the people who know how to use AI are the most likely not to get cut
Yeah.
going
Yep.
forward. So if you
Exactly.
don't
Exactly.
want it to take your job, then know how to use it. That'd be how I would, that's the best strategy.
Yeah, yeah, it's like 150 years ago. The people who lost their job when the car was invented were the people who didn't know how to work on cars, but they knew how to, I don't know, clean up after horses and horse-drawn carriages, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, yep,
And I would also say too for parents, because I know a lot your audience is parents listening to this,
yeah,
and the parents need to be vigilant with their use of AI. So using it monitored at first and making sure that your kids have a good grasp of their critical thinking and you have a good relationship with them so that whatever comes about, they're not going to AI for things that are unhealthy. And so you're
hmm
using it with them for a period of time and then you learn it together because the worst thing it can do is you don't know how to use it at all and your kid knows how to use it completely and then
yeah,
you
yep,
are in a world of hurt.
yep, absolutely, awesome. Cami, just so people know how to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can connect with you?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm all over Facebook, Instagram. You can message me there. Also, I do a free masterclass once a month, the Inspire Lifelong Learners Masterclass, and I know Dave can get you the info on that. It's the next one is coming up in July. Will be coming up on the 16th, and so you can get information about homeschooling. And just because you homeschool doesn't mean you can't go to college.
Yeah, oh, 100%. Yeah, um I work with I know I don't know off the top of my head know the percentage of students who are homeschooled in the US, but I work with a much higher percentage of homeschoolers than you would expect if people were just finding me randomly. And my homeschoolers have a tremendous amount of success. In fact, in the summer camp, the one that Kenyon is going through, our last live session, we're going to be joined by a young lady who earned beyond a full tuition scholarship who was homeschooled. So yeah, homeschool students not only can go to college, but they can do really well with scholarships too. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. Great. Well, thank you both so much. This was awesome. I'd love to have you back again. Kenyon, let us know when your book is available for us to access and to purchase. And really appreciate you both taking the time out today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'll be sure to let you know.
Thanks.